There seemed an air of inevitability about qualifying this week. When we saw what happened with Max Verstappen in Australia, we all know what happens when Max Verstappen has a bad race. He comes back and he comes with the intention of dominating the field. Now, he has the help of some of the best machinery to ever grace a racetrack. But how did he get on in qualifying today? So, obviously, there was no running in free practice 2 yesterday, which made practice 3 this morning heavily important, especially for Daniel Ricciardo, who I think only did about 3-4 laps in mixed conditions before today. Now, he's probably going to be disappointed with his performance, but personally, I think he should be mega impressed. I think if he'd have had like a proper weekend where he had free practice 1, I think he probably could have done an extra step. There's a few more big names like Fernando Alonso's done really well again. Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton sort of seems to be back on track. But there is a few disappointing names that have gone out early on. Obviously, you've got Guan Yu Zhou with a 130.143. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or in this top corner. We're trying to hit 450 subscribers by the time we hit the end of April. I know that you can help me do it by hitting that big red button down below. So hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and stay tuned to all my latest content. He's going to be really disappointed with that, especially when he sees his teammate, like, essentially half a second quicker than him. I give Zhou the benefit of the doubt, and I did a video the other day about Carlos Sainz and where he could go and a potential vacancy at Aston Martin and things like that. And it's like Guan Yu Zhou's not really putting in the performances to prove that he deserves to stay in Formula 1. Now, I like Zhou. I think he's a good character to have on the grid. Do I think he's good enough to stay and be around consistently? Maybe not. Obviously, to join into that in 19th, a couple of thousandths of a second ahead, Logan Sargent. Now, I can see a world where Kimi Antonelli replaces him. I think I mentioned it in yesterday's video, reviewing practice. I just don't think Williams have any confidence in Logan, and I think a lot of that stems from what happened in Australia. Obviously, giving Albon his chassis, Sargent not racing, then this weekend getting the damaged chassis, Sargent then having a big accident in practice. So, obviously, both of those drivers, for me, have got to get better. If they want to be in and around Formula 1 for the foreseeable future, for me, they have to get better because there's drivers waiting in the wings. You've got Kimi Antonelli, Zane Maloney's having a brilliant Formula 2 season, Oliver Behrman wants a seat in Formula 1. You've got Liam Lawson sitting on the sidelines. Even if you want to, you've got drivers like Mick Schumacher on the sidelines. Sebastian Vettel seems to be putting his name in the hat for seats at the minute. So it's sort of a very difficult situation, in my opinion, for those two, but they need to book their ideas up. Kevin Magnussen will probably be a little bit disappointed with his performance, although it's one of those where he is in a Haas. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt, but again, Nico Hulkenberg on that Q1 session, about a quarter of a second quicker. So now we know Nico Hulkenberg is brilliant in qualifying. We know that he's brilliant in a race car, but shouldn't be having that gap for me. Now, 17th, Pierre Gasly. Now, he also had a similar gap to his teammate. And I think this track is really a driver's track. If you can put the lap together, you'll be all right. Now, obviously machinery is important, but if you can put the lap together, you should be good. But Pierre Gasly, again, 2-3 tenths off his teammate. Lance Stroll out in Q1 in an Aston Martin when his teammate put it in P5. Now, Alonso did a 129.2 in Q1 and Stroll did a 130.0. Another name which it really should be on the chopping block, but he won't, in my opinion, obviously, because when your dad owns a Formula 1 team, it sort of makes life quite easy. But I've seen a lot of people sort of predicting grids and having George Russell at Aston Martin and George Russell with Alonso at Aston Martin. And do you know something? I can't see it, really. but nothing would surprise me. Obviously, if you want to take Aston Martin as a competitive unit, they need a better second driver. This is not the first time Lance Stroll's gone out in Q1. Like last season, he did it multiple times. Like going out in Q2 as well. With the package they have, like I think I said it in an earlier video, the top 10 every week should be Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin every week. That's what the top 10 should be, unless there's mechanical failures or something like that, or a crash sort of thing. But yeah, so Stroll went out with a 130.0 in 16th. Then you've got Ocon in 15th, obviously another point on his tally for the head-to-head. Alex Albon, P14. Now, I'm a bit stuck with Williams, to be honest. I'm not really quite sure what's going on there. I know they're trying to sort out some processes and things like that so that they can be better for the future, but they're not quite making the progress I expected them to make into this season. Obviously, then you've got Valtteri Bottas. Realistically, he's demoralising his teammate, in my opinion. He's done really well so far this season. Nico Hülkenberg, P12 again, showing that the Haas does have some pace, and he was only a 10th away from getting into Q3 again, which is massively important. So yeah, you also got Ricciardo in P11. Now, for me, Daniel Ricciardo should be happy with that. He's not going to be because he's still behind his teammate, but he should be happy with that. A 129.4 was only about half a tenth behind his teammate, and with all due respect, that's a decent lap for Daniel in that car. P11 with what he realistically had an hour to get ready. Now, I know other teams missed out on FP2, but I'm pretty sure he was the only one that had a rookie in for FP1. So, decent for him, in my opinion. Hopefully, he has a good race tomorrow. And then Yuki Tsunoda again, another mega performance by him. Obviously, nowhere near the big boys. 3/10 off with his Q2 time, and then 4/10 off with his Q3 time. George Russell made a mistake on his lap. And to be fair, with the pack behind Red Bull, it literally is, if you make a mistake, you're done for. We've seen it with Hamilton a few times recently, and we're seeing it now with George Russell. Makes a mistake on his lap, still improves and does a 129, which was his best lap of the whole qualifying session, but is like 2.5 tenths down on Leclerc in P8, his teammate in P7. Now, Leclerc only did one run, if I remember correctly, for qualifying. Did improve to a 28.7, but obviously there's only a tenth in it between him and his teammate. 3/10 in it, 3/4 in it between him and Lando in P3. So it's not really a massive jump between these teams. And for me, if you get a couple of the sectors right, you sort of set. It's them twisty stuff. If you're off on like the start of the S's, you're off all the way through, and it just sort of ruins everybody's day. Like, let's be completely honest, like your day is just finished. Hamilton, probably one of his best qualifying sessions of the season. Obviously, he came out post qualifying and was saying this is the first time this season that he's not gone crazy with the setup. Sort of stuck to basics, and getting that P7 for him, it should give him a bit of a boost of confidence. Now, I don't really know if he needs it. Obviously, as I've been saying, in my opinion, he's sort of on the beach, just doing the necessary to get through this season. But he was only 0.006 of a second behind Piastri, so he's not too far off. Only, 1/10 of a second behind Alonso and Carlos Sainz. So it's obviously not that big of a gap. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how they get on in race pace. Obviously, the Ferraris look quite quick in race pace. Not too sure about the McLarens, and obviously Fernando Alonso has changed spec of his car, sort of. So I didn't really see much data from FP3, I can't lie. So I'm not sure where everybody's sitting for race pace. I do think it'll probably be a running order of Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and then Alonso will be sprinkled in somewhere. Obviously, Alonso P5, Piastri P6, Sainz 4, Norris 3. Really good lap by Lando Norris. Sort of on the pace all the way through, really on the bubble. Obviously, your front two. Who else would it be other than Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen in the best car I think we've seen in a long time in Formula One? It's only going to get better as well. This weekend they've bought their first sort of upgrade package, and obviously it seems to be working. Built a bit of a gap to those teams in and around them. Obviously Ferrari not as close this weekend, whether that's track specific or they've just not got it right this weekend. That's going to be fun to see tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be an interesting race. It's an early get up, not for the drivers, obviously, but if you're in the UK, it's an early get up. So it's going to be really interesting to see how things go. Obviously, I'm a bit deluded. I can't lie. I think Lewis Hamilton's going to finish P3. I don't know why. Just got this feeling in my stomach. Something's going to happen, and Hamilton is going to finish P3. I think Ricciardo's getting points tomorrow as well, to be fair. I think he's sort of been put on the back foot, and I want to see him fight back. And I think the best thing he could do is score some points tomorrow. So, obviously, if you have enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. How do you think about qualifying? It's a bit difficult with these early sessions. Like, I think it's the last 2 race weekends. It's been fucking 2 o'clock get-ups, 3 o'clock get-ups, and it is quite difficult. But we move, we keep going, we keep pushing, and let's see what happens in the race tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.